Welcome to Whiskey One, the channel for the novice, the curious, and the connoisseur. I'm Whiskey One, and today we're going to be tasting and reviewing the Castle & Key Small Batch Bourbon. So stick around. Whiskey fam, time to dram, whiskey fam. So we have the Castle & Key, and this is part of our birthday whiskey series. We have 2 bottles left. That's this little guy that was gifted by my good friend Ben Post. And for our birthday, we got a number of whiskeys, and so I thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to review them all, right? And share with you guys what's up. So this is Castle & Key Bourbon. This is a 4-year bourbon. And before we talk about this little guy, I just want to invite you guys to something that is going to help out the channel for the long run. And that's by joining and supporting us by becoming a Patreon. And several folks have already started, and we really appreciate you guys. Quick shout out to all you Patreons. And you're probably wondering, well, what is that going to do for us, right, that are watching? So you will have things like discounts. You would get early access to our videos. You get shout outs. And just kind of depending on what tier you join, you get certain kind of bonuses throughout the year. And again, one of the focuses that we want to have this year is to expand and do different things, not necessarily just reviews and just YouTube videos, but we'd like to start thinking about a podcast. We're going to need some new equipment, different things to be able to get that going. And part of the vision of the podcast is to be able to interview guests from all around the world. And also feature guests from time to time that are either local, or if we travel, visit some distilleries, we might be able to do podcasts directly from that site. So again, in order to make that vision happen, we're going to need your help. And so again, consider becoming a Patreon. Let's get to this whiskey. This is a 4-batch bourbon. And a little backstory behind these guys is they started up around 2014, 2015. And let me get a little extra pour there. They bought up the old Taylor Distillery. It was run down, kind of left for dead and left in shambles, wasn't in good shape. But they decided to restore it, bring it back to life. And the Castle & Key Distillery is actually built upon the original site of the old Taylor Distillery. One of the first few people that started making bourbon, a legendary gentleman by the name of Colonel E.H. Taylor, but the distillery itself just kind of been left to get old. There was a time when bourbon just wasn't a thing. Whiskey itself just wasn't as popular as clear spirits, things that usually go into a cocktail, right? And so these guys decided to start it back up. And I'm interested to see what this is all about. I've heard things, I've seen people talk about how good Castle & Key is. I've never had it before, so this is a fresh uncorking. And let's see what's up. So, cheers. A bit floral. A good amount of spices right on the nose. Herbal, heavy with cinnamon sticks, some black tea. It's not very sweet on the nose, not very decadent like some bourbons can be. As far as mash bill, it's actually a high malt grain. So you got white corn. There's about 73% white corn, 10% rye, and then the rest is malted barley. So it's sort of a high malt mash bill is what we refer to those. If anything, it feels more like a high rye bourbon, even though it's not really a high rye bourbon. And it's kind of light. Outside of those spices, baking spices, a little bit of wet cut grass, vanilla and oak, somewhat leathery. I don't really get like an abundant amount of those sugar notes, caramels or nothing like that, but maybe the taste will bring some of that. So let's have a little taste. Okay. not profoundly sweet, but you start to get like salted toffee and like brown sugar right off the bat. It's warming. It's not very high proof. You know, still kind of under 100 proof. This is a 99 proof small batch whiskey. Man, but it's not, it doesn't drink hot. I wouldn't say it drinks hot. But besides some of the sweetness that you get more on the taste, then you do the nose, then you start to get some of those spices. They start to really show up more on that taste, sort of on that mid palate, and it's got a very long, lingering finish, by the way. I'm gonna take one more sip. It's got a citrus feel to it, almost like orange peel or orange pulp. Dry, crispy, a little bit subtle apple, but not like sliced apples, more like the dry tannic part of an apple. But it still feels a little juicy. But man, that finish is like lingering. It's spicy. It's a little bold for a 99 proof whiskey, honestly. And you know, I want to do a quick shout out to Ben Post for gifting this whiskey. I think it was a great gesture to give this to me for my birthday last year. I feel like this has got a little bit of dry and earthy feel to it than most Kentucky straight bourbon. You can still find batch 2. I did look on their website. They do have batches 1 and 2 still available online, surprisingly, but not the others. And one thing I'm going to add is an interesting little tidbit, a little fact. Their master distiller is a lady by the name of Mary Ann Eves, and she is Kentucky's first female master distiller. And she works for Castle and Key and is helping them with their vision and their overall product. And I think it's just kind of a cool story, backstory behind this whiskey, really. So if you get a chance to try this stuff, I recommend at least trying it. For the price point as well, this is something that's not going to break the bank. Honestly, for 50, 55 bucks, you can't lose. And I think it's a solid whiskey. It definitely gets my stamp of approval. But I think it's going to be a little something different. Less on the sweet side, and I think it's more on the floral, you know, more on the spicier side, which is kind of unique given its mash bill, honestly. But I do recommend it. And as far as who this speaks to, I would say that this speaks to the whiskey novice, if anything. It's very approachable, and I think this would be a good little addition to the bar. Now, one thing I will say is getting this thing uncorked is a bit of a pain in the ass. I'll be honest with you. It's got this metal cork to it, and I had to sort of pre-pry it, if you will, before the shot. And we'll show this up a little closer, but it's a beautiful topper. It says Castle and Key Distillery, but this thing's metallic. This is solid metal, but it's got the synthetic cork, which is kind of good because your cork isn't going to go bad, and it does form sometimes a better seal, in my opinion, than the real cork. But dang, you don't want to throw it at anybody. You can probably take somebody out with that cork. But anyway, just a little tidbit I thought I'd throw in there. And also, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It won't hurt you, it won't cost you anything, and we definitely would love the support. We're still trying to grow our fan base. We're 3 years into this, journey, if you will, and we're really having a lot of fun. But like I mentioned before, we're trying to expand and do some other things. So thanks for stopping by and checking us out. Again, Ben, thanks for the whiskey, my friend. And here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.